Maybe. Hey, everybody. My name is Dr. Carrie Magger, a professional speaker, author, and autism self-advocate. And I'm super excited to say that today, April 2nd, is World Autism Awareness Day, where we celebrate and highlight the stories of over 70 million people worldwide who have an autism diagnosis. I'm here with a very special guest. Her name is Addison. She is also my current research intern with my nonprofit, KFM Making a Difference. And she also wears many hats because she was also one of our scholarship winners for Making a Difference for Autism Scholarship, which is ran via the nonprofit KFM Making a Difference. But enough about that. Addison is 18 years old and is currently attending Texas A&M University. Her goals for the future include earning a degree in telecommunications and media studies with a minor in graphic design. And one day she hopes to use the degree to work in a field where she could run social media for a company or nonprofit. And Addison was diagnosed a little bit after her 14th birthday. Addison, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Of course, I'm so excited.
Awesome. So Addison, so there's going to be people watching this you've never met. What would you like to say to those people to introduce yourself?
Well, I mean, like my bio said, I'm Addison or Addie. I was diagnosed a little after I turned 14 in September of 2020, and it was very much a reliefful day. Like the diagnosis for me was a big relief almost because it gave me answers as to, why I was the way that I was. So my main message will probably be just don't feel bad about your diagnosis. It is not a bad thing at all. It's honestly a superpower.
I love that. And how did you learn more about KFM in terms of applying for the scholarship?
So honestly, my mom found it, but I'm really glad she did.
Yeah, no, I get that too. We've had over 300 scholarship applicants up to this point, and I get so many questions from moms. It's like my child wants to apply, and how do I go about applying? So you are in good company there. So Addison, I guess a lot of questions I get from parents is, what's it like to live with an autism diagnosis for you, just based on, if you met one autistic person, you met just that one autistic person. What's it like to live with your diagnosis though?
Honestly, sometimes I forget I have it. If that kind of sounds silly, but I guess it's because I've never known anything different. Um, but living with autism before the diagnosis was much harder than living with it after the diagnosis, because before I was having, bad sensory issues and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was different or what was causing it. But after the diagnosis, I learned how I can prevent that and how I can handle it after, like during those sensory meltdowns or whatever. Um, so I think just having a common understanding of how I can prevent and just work with it. Like it's not something that you want to get away. It's just something that you have to work with.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. And that's so true. Just for like, I feel like anybody, it's like, regardless if they have autism or not, we have all our own like unique challenges and strengths, and we kind of have to just figure out like as we go along. So for those who are just joining us again, feel free to like this video, share this video. Today is World Autism Awareness Day. I'm here with our amazing guest, Addison, who is an incredible autistic adult, also the research intern for my nonprofit KFM Making a Difference. If you want to learn more about KFM, you can go to kfmmakingdifference.org. I'll include a link in the comments. And feel free, if you have a question for Addison based on her own autism journey, write it in the comments, and we'll try to get to all your questions during today's interview. So Addison, obviously there's a ton of misconceptions out there in the community. So many people I even talk to who don't have a personal connection are like, oh, all autistic people are great at math. They have a photogenic memory and they can win you lots of money on the blackjack tables by counting cards. What it's true though. It's a well, what is one misconception you see out there in the autism world that you would like to see debunked?
Probably, I think the general population isn't really aware of how much of a spectrum autism really is. So I think just more clarity for that and more knowledge on that area, because for me, mostly every time I tell someone I'm autistic, they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. Yeah, actually I am." For me, it's pretty obvious, but so I just think a better understanding of the whole spectrum idea, and that it's not just one pinpoint, like, this is what it looks like. These are the issues,
Yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely, absolutely. So we have a question that came in. I'm going to hack this person's name because it's literally just normal with Isera. But I'm so sorry if I hacked your name. And this individual asks, how does autism affect memory, energy level? I have autism, ADHD, can't point out autism alone. So, Addison, I guess just from your perspective, in your life has, because you were just diagnosed at 14, did you like come to any realizations because of your autism diagnosis with like challenges with like energy, memory, anything like that?
I'd probably say I have a pretty good memory. Um, I know I don't know if it's really, like, proven or not, but they say people with autism can remember things before they were 3, which is whenever you're supposed to start making memories.
Yeah.
Um, so I definitely remember stuff before 3, and I don't know if that's common or not, but on the energy level, I don't I only drink water. I don't drink carbonation or anything, so I kind of have a low energy level, but that just might be because of what I drink.
You're better off. I don't go with coffee for like 5 hours and then I start getting a splitting headache. So you're in the right place. Trust me, Addison. Uh, and she mentions that she's Swedish. So okay, I apologize. Sweden, don't
That's
come after me
awesome.
after this interview. Uh, so so from the perspective of misconceptions, what is something you wish people knew about autism?
I've already kinda touched on this a little bit, but just the fact that it does look different for everyone. Um,
Yeah. No, it
yeah,
it yeah, no, it absolutely does. And it's so funny just like because I know so many people who have level 3 autism and like high support needs and are going to need lifetime care, but I feel like a lot of the time that's the people we're not talking about. We're
right,
always like talking about all these topics. It's like, oh, let's find college opportunities, employment opportunities. But like, what about like housing opportunities?
right,
It feels like a lot of the times it falls through the cracks. And so some of those individuals can't speak up for themselves. So I feel like that's
mm,
also like there's so many autistic advocates like you and me who can speak up if we need something, but those other individuals have to rely on their aging parents who sometimes might not have the ability to go out there and verbalize the specific challenges that are going on. So I
right.
really just love your perspective there. So Addison, just in terms of, and obviously you're 18, so you haven't had like too much experience in the employment world, but have you had previous employment?
I was a lifeguard and I'm gonna be again this summer, but last summer I was a lifeguard at my local gym.
Nice. What are some of the obstacles and challenges you think that not only like because of autism, but like just in general that may face somebody who is trying to find employment who's on the autism spectrum?
Um, I would just say not to be scared to put yourself out there, and I can talk more about, like, organizations at A&M that I've tried for and maybe haven't gotten or did get and it turned out to be great, but just, don't overfill your plate, but definitely see what works for you and just put yourself in situations to where you can be like, "Is this for me? Is this good?"
Yeah, no, I like that perspective for sure, because just from Texas A&M, what have been some things that you have kind of wanted to do so far?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh yeah, sure. What were some of the things that you've done at Texas A&M that you've wanted to go out for?
So I'm in a it's called Dance Art Society. It's a dance program. Um, that's super fun. Super glad I did that. I went for a fish camp counselor, which is a camp that we do for our freshmen coming in. I didn't get that, but there's other years, maybe it's just something that not for me now. Um, but I am glad I applied. Um, I used to be in a sorority. I dropped that. I feel like that was for the better for me, especially being autistic. It just wasn't my area.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So for everyone joining us again, my name is Dr. Carrie Magro, speaker, autism advocate. I'm here with Addison, and we're talking a little bit about our own collective autism journeys. So feel free in the comments to, if you have any questions for Addison, myself. Today is also World Autism Awareness Day. Feel free, and we'll try to get to as many of those as we can. We had a comment that came in, and it was just, how do people react when you tell them that you have autism? But we kind of fall in the same realm, just based on our conversations. People just don't know we really have it.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like sometimes that's challenging. It's especially from like the invisible disability perspective, because I mean, I don't know about you, but like I still have like sensory challenges that I still go through
Oh, yeah,
to this
for
day.
sure.
Are there any challenges that you currently face that you wish people kind of knew about?
My main issue is definitely sensory issues. Like sometimes brushing my hair gets really frustrating. Um, little things like eye contact, that's all can be a big deal some days, and other days it's like secondhand nature. So it really just depends on the day, but just be patient with people with autism or with everyone.
Yeah, totally. We have other comments coming in. Jonathan writes in, "Hey, Jonathan." Jonathan was actually on our webinar just before this interview. So, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us again. Jonathan is also an autistic self-advocate and is doing some really, really cool stuff. So it's good to see you again, Jonathan. So, Addison, just from the perspective of like, obviously, you just started college. What have been some of the biggest differences between high school to your college experience so far that people should know about?
So definitely the biggest one is living without your parents. Um, yeah, I mean that's kind of like the obvious one, but I expected it to go a lot worse than it actually did. I actually enjoy living by myself. But I do like my parents helped me implement different schedules and different like day-to-day routines that keep me on track. Um, and they're just as simple as like my laundry baskets and stuff like that. But they definitely help me just stay calm and you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who are joining us, we did have somebody come in from Sweden. Feel free in the chat just to tell us where you're tuning in from as well. We'd love to just get your perspective. Obviously, Addison's at Texas A&M. I'm based in Hoboken, New Jersey. So definitely let us know where you're tuning in from and also what your relationship is. We have about 50 people who are currently watching. So definitely write in the chat and just let us know where you're tuning in from today as well, as we're moving along with some of these questions. So, Addison, obviously, and we talked a little bit about this already with like the whole autism in males and savants. Did you ever like notice that you were masking any different characteristics that you were facing on the autism spectrum? Because especially for girl autism, I noticed that there's a lot more conversation about girls masking than boys.
Yeah, so I actually masked so much, especially in middle school. Um, I wouldn't necessarily act different with different groups, but I just noticed that every single day when I came home from school, my brain would like physically hurt. And it was because I was masking all day. So I would take naps like in my mom's office after school every day.
And was there a time where you like really just remember and were like cognizant, like, oh my God, I'm masking? Was it something that you kind of just realized at some point, or what was it like something that took like years before you actually were like, oh my God, this is something I'm masking?
Well, in middle school I didn't have my diagnosis yet, but short my freshman year in 2020, whenever they told me, I was like, "Oh, that's probably why my brain hurts every day after school." Um, but I after the diagnosis, I did quickly come to the realization that I was masking an excessive amount.
And for people at home who might be joining us, who might have a teen or a young adult who are facing challenges with masking, what would you like them to know? Is there any advice just based on your journey with masking?
Um, I learned that after I kind of eased up on the masking going through high school, I honestly got more friends. Like, and I was pretty public with my diagnosis with autism. Like, I wasn't like I told people I wasn't, scared of it or whatever. But yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback, luckily. Um, very, very happy to have had that. But I just be yourself and don't worry about what other people think because as long as you're happy.
Yeah, I love that. Gina writes, "What is masking?" So, Gina, masking is for so many people in the autism world, they may, for example, I did this as a kid, so I would stim, so I'd rub my hands together as a way of self-regulating. So that would, for me, when I realized I was trying to stop doing that, that was me masking. Basically, masking is the idea of taking a neurodivergent or autistic individual and trying to make them quote unquote neurotypical or not autistic. And I, like Addison says, that could lead to challenges with just burnout, being tired all the time, having headaches, like she mentioned. So it's really, really important that we encourage autistic people to STEM if it's not self-injurious to them or others, and also just be themselves, because as Addison mentioned, she started to get connections and friendships once she was just being her authentic self. So really, really important to understand. We have people joining us. Hey, Sarah. Sarah is from Minnesota and has 3 sons who are autistic. Sarah, let us know how they're doing today. Gina writes, my son is autistic on the spectrum 2 and 10 verbal. I am from Florida. All right. I love the Florida area. Go Seminoles. And all right. So, and Jonathan writes that he has autism just like me and Addison. Awesome. Addison, I guess another just thought I had based on our conversations is we already talked a little bit about misconceptions. What's something that you shouldn't say to somebody who has autism? Is there anything that like really grinds your gears when people say it?
Uh, I don't really like when I tell someone that I'm autistic and they're like, "Oh no, you're not. You can't be." Like, and they act like they know everything about autism, which autism is a very hard subject to know a lot about. And I personally think if you don't live with someone like that or you don't have it, then you don't fully understand what it's capable of.
Yeah, I agree. It's the I also get like people are like, well, back in my day, we never had any of this autism or ADHD
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, yeah, you did. It's just, it wasn't being diagnosed, or
Yeah.
somebody just didn't feel comfortable like sharing about it at that time. So yeah, that really annoys me as well. And I feel like a lot of girls in the autism community face that more than boys. Have you noticed that too, just from your experiences
Yeah.
interact with other autistic people?
Yeah, I guess it's just I did a group study with a local, like it was connections counseling. And I did a group study. It was me and 2 other guys that had autism, and it was so like, our responses to everything were so different. Like, I don't know what it is, but I guess girls are just sometimes better at masking, or I don't know. It's just different for everyone.
Yeah. I've also gotten the questions around, it's like, oh, you're too handsome to be autistic. And it's
Yeah.
like, what is, we have to just normalize the whole,
Yeah.
the look kind
Autism
of.
doesn't have a look.
Exactly, exactly. We have a question that came in from Tamara. Hey, Tamara. Tamara writes, what is the difference between stimming and OCD behavior? Thank you for this live. Yeah, Tamara, the biggest thing about stimming and OCD behavior is that I have OCD tendencies where I have to keep everything clean, even though I'm not a germaphobe, and I have to have like a very structured routine. A lot of people might have co-occurring conditions who have autism who might show OCD characteristics, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their diagnosis is OCD. Addison, have you had any experience with OCD behaviors in the past growing up?
Yeah, so actually, and I'm sure if my mom and dad were on here, they could talk about this for hours, but every time I would go into a store, like a grocery store, I would always line up like all of the products to the front, which is kind of weird. And then I would always um, put my like animal toys in a line, and it'd always be from like shortest to tallest or based on color or stuff like that. And I don't really do anything like that anymore, but I do definitely still have some OCD tendencies. I like everything to be in order and clean. Um, and I do some of the stuff, especially on my phone, where I'll like quadruple check something. Kinda
Yeah.
like the door thing where they open and shut a door a few times. I kinda do that with my phone.
Yeah, I actually do the same thing. I did lining up like a ton. For those who are
Yeah.
joining us, definitely let us know in the comments if your child loves the lineup stuff, because I know I did when I was a kid. Uh, we have a Facebook user who's joining us anonymously, who writes, hey, watching from Canada. I'm a single mom of a beautiful 15-year-old girl diagnosed at 3, who I'm raising on my own. God love you both for helping others understand autism. And God bless you for just, you are your child's greatest advocate. And I really hope that it's going well. And if you have any questions for Addison, just based on your girl who is now a teenager, definitely write it in the comments, and we'll try to see if we can get to it during this Q&A. Again, for everyone joining us, my name is Dr. Kerry Magro. If you just joined us, feel free to like this video, share this video. Today is also World Autism Awareness Day. So if you have the opportunity, definitely recognize and share with your coworkers or people in your local community to educate them a little bit about autism in our society today, because it definitely takes a village. Addison, so we often talk about like different therapies and supports that could help autistic people. Was there any one therapy that helped you during your journey over others?
Honestly, not really. After the diagnosis, I just kinda had, like, a mental switch to where I was like, "Okay, now that we have a reason for how I'm acting and how I feel, these are the things we can do about it and help prevent it." And I don't know, I just became very active on how to, prevent stuff and just knowledgeable about autism as a whole.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also you were diagnosed at 14. So I mean, at that point, it's like you're people like getting diagnosed at like 2 or 3 and then getting like all these therapies. But like
Yeah.
you were already like so far along that some therapies were really even going to be helpful to you at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit of therapy, and then I did that group therapy that I mentioned. And I mean, they were cool. I don't know if they necessarily helped, but yeah.
Yeah. So I just mentioned that it takes a village, and for parents who are joining us, you are your child's greatest advocate. Was there one person in your life, Addison, who you would say like helped you the most growing up with autism?
Definitely my mom, because she was always there every time I had a sensory outburst and just got overwhelmed. So she's seen every side of me. She knows me the best. So definitely her. And she actually was the one, she wanted to go get me tested for autism when I was 4, but the doctor said, no, you can't have autism. She's making great eye contact. So that led to me being diagnosed 10 years later.
Has your mom ever like told you like how she reacted to the doctor when
So, are you talking about the doctor when I was 4?
Yeah, yeah,
She was just kinda like, I mean, I guess, but she just had a gut feeling, and she ended up being right. So, that's the power of a mom.
yeah. No, totally the power of a mom for sure. And for the moms who are joining us, definitely know that's you have power in this world and speak up when you see challenges because you can make a long lasting difference in your child's life. So Addison, so many people are bullied in our like world today, especially those who have autism. So some statistics indicate that those who have autism are twice as likely to be bullied compared to those who don't have autism, which I totally understand because it's a social and communication disorder. Did you ever deal with any bullying?
Um, a little bit. I just for the most part, it was people kind of talking down to me and talking to me like I wasn't, at the same mental capacity as them. Um, but I really didn't get bullied or experience any type of bullying that much at all, which I'm really thankful for. But for people that are experiencing that, they just they're they just don't know anything about autism. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Addison, what is there any like final thoughts that you would like to leave people just based on your autism journey and kind of like what are some of like your goals and aspirations for the future? Obviously, working in social media would be amazing, but are there any like final thoughts that you would like to leave for people at home based on your story?
I would just say to own it. Like, immediately after I heard my diagnosis come from my psychologist's mouth, I was like, okay, like, this makes sense, and this is what we're dealing with, and we're gonna get through it. It just made so much sense afterwards. So I wouldn't be hard on yourself at all. Just be thankful that you got a diagnosis, one, and yeah, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for everyone joining us at home, thank you all so much. Today is World Autism Awareness Day. My name is Dr. Carrie Magger, a professional speaker, author, and autism self advocate. I'm here with Addison, our amazing research intern at our nonprofit, KFM Making a Difference. And if you want to learn more about how you could, we're a 501c3, how you could support this cause. We've given 150 scholarships for autistic students to go to college, 27 small business grants for small businesses, and we're doing a wide range of disability awareness related initiatives, not only in New Jersey, but across the globe. To support our neurodiverse community, you can go to kfmmakingdifference.org right here on the screen for more information on how you can get involved with our scholarship program. in addition to the small business grant application, in addition to our sensory friendly events that we do. Addison, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And
Of course.
I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Talk soon.
Thank you.